A reading from the book of John, chapter 18. No commentary. When he had said this, Jesus went out with his disciples across the Kidron Valley to where there was a garden in which he and his disciples entered. Judas, his betrayer, also knew the place because Jesus had often met there with his disciples. So Judas got a band of soldiers and guards from the chief priests and Pharisees and went there with lanterns, torches, and weapons. Jesus, knowing everything that was going to happen to him, went out and said to them, "Whom are you looking for?" They answered him, "Jesus the Nazarene." He said to them, "I am." Judas, his betrayer, was also with them. When he said to them, "I am," they turned away and fell to the ground. So again he asked them, "Whom are you looking for?" They said, "Jesus the Nazarene." Jesus answered, "I told you that I am. So if you are looking for me, let these men go." This was to fulfill what he said, I have not lost any of those you gave me." Then Simon Peter, who had a sword, drew it and struck the priest's slave's ear and cut off his right ear. His name was Malchus. The slave's name was Malchus. Jesus said to Peter, "Put your sword into its scabbard. Shall I not drink the cup that the Father gave me?" So the band of soldiers, the tribune, and Jewish guards seized Jesus, bound him, and brought him to Annas. First, he was the father-in-law of Caiaphas, who was high priest that year. It was Caiaphas who counseled the Jews that it was better that one man should die rather than the people. Simon Peter and another disciple followed Jesus. Now the other disciple was known to the high priest, and he entered the courtyard of the high priest with Jesus. But Peter stood at the gate outside. So the other disciple, an acquaintance of the high priest, went out and spoke to the gatekeeper and brought Peter in. Then the maid who was the gatekeeper said to Peter, You are not one of this man's disciples, are you?" He said, "I am not." Now the slaves and the guards were standing around a charcoal fire that they had made because it was cold. And were warming themselves. Peter was also standing there, keeping warm. The high priest questioned Jesus about his discipleship and about his doctrine. Jesus answered him, "I have spoken publicly to the world. I have always taught in the synagogue or in the temple area, where all the Jews gathered, and in secret I have said nothing. Why ask me? Ask those who heard me what I said to them. Why ask me? Ask those who heard me what I said to them. They know what I said." When they had said this, one of the temple guards standing there struck Jesus and said, Is this the way you answered the high priest?" Jesus answered him, "If I have spoken wrongly, testify to the wrong, but if I have spoken rightly, why do you strike me?" Then Jesus sent him bound to Caiaphas, the high priest. Now Simon Peter was standing there keeping warm, and said to him, You are not one of his disciples, are you?" He denied it and said, "I am not." One of the slaves of the high priest, a relative of the one whose ear Peter had cut off, said, "Didn't I see you at the garden with him?" Again Peter denied it, and immediately the cock crowed. 3 times. What the? Again Peter denied, and immediately the cock crowed. Then they brought Jesus from Caiaphas to the Praetorium. It was morning, and they themselves did not enter the Praetorium in order not to be defiled, so that they could eat the Passover. So Pilate came out and said to them, "What charge do you bring against this man?" They answered and said to him, "If he were not a criminal, he would not have handed him over to you." At this, Pilate said to them, "Take him yourselves and judge him according to your law." The Jews answered him, "We do not have the right to execute anyone." in order that the word of Jesus might be fulfilled that he said, indicating the kind of death. In order that the word of Jesus might be fulfilled that he said, indicating the kind of death he would die. So Pilate went back to the Praetorium and summoned Jesus and said to him, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Do you say this on your own, or have others told you about me?" Pilate answered, "I am not a Jew, am I? Your own nation and the priests and chief priests handed you over to me. What have you done?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom does not belong to this world. If my kingdom did belong to this world, my attendants would be fighting to keep me from being handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not here." Pilate said to him, "Then are you a king?" Jesus answered, "You say I am a king. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone who belongs to the truth listens to my voice." Jesus said to him, "What is the truth?" When he said this, he went out of the Jews. He again went out to the Jews and said to them, "I find no guilt in him." Then you have a custom that I release one prisoner. You have a custom that I release one prisoner to you at Passover. Do you want me to release to you the King of the Jews? They cried out again, "Not this one, but Barabbas." Now Barabbas was a revolutionary. Okay, so things are getting quite hairy for the Lord there. Wonder what happens next. Okay, chapter 19. We'll find out. Thank you for spending your evening with us.